Oh, yeah, folks. Yeah, take that in, chew it up, and spit it out. Hope you enjoyed that. And that was a ripper track. That was Cannon in the Yard by the Paradise Riflebirds off their brand new album, Victorian Evening. Absolutely ripper. I hope that got you hyped up because I'm very excited at the moment to have Simon, the main guitarist, and I guess you can call him workhorse of the band, here with me today on the line, all the way up from far north Queensland. So, folks, give him your warmest on-air applause. Oh, sounds good, folks. Yeah, give a warm round of applause to Simon from the Paradise Riflebirds to chat about the new album. Simon, welcome to the show, firstly, and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Daniel.
As you can hear, the people are going wild for you right now, and I certainly am very happy to be chatting with you today because I want to say it's a great album.
Thanks, yeah. I appreciate it. It was a long journey to get the record done, but yeah, we're definitely happy with it.
Yeah, I was going to say you must be pretty chuffed because this is your debut record under this project.
Yeah, it's the debut record under this name, and it's our first full-length record. We did put out an EP under the name The Riflebirds when we were based in Brisbane late in the 2000s. But yeah, this is the first full-length record we've done.
I was going to say, at which point did you find Paradise, Simon? Because I mean, it's a pretty cool name, Paradise Riflebirds. But to go from something just the Riflebirds to finding your paradise, finding your Garden of Eden per se, and just slotting it in the middle of your name.
Yeah, the reality was a little more prosaic than that.
Well, we don't let reality get in the way of a good story, do we, Simon?
Sorry. The Paradise Riflebird, it's a bird that lives around the rainforests around Brisbane. But the reason we moved the name from the Riflebirds to the Paradise Riflebirds is because as the internet, music on the internet grew, it turned out that there were 4 current and former bands with that name. And so that's why we changed the name and added that prefix so that people that knew the Riflebirds would know that this was still a continuation of that, but with the extra prefix in front.
Yeah.
Just to separate us out from all the other Riflebirds. There's one in the US, there's one in Scotland, there's one in England, and there's one in Melbourne. So, yeah, we had to change that name.
All over the Anglosphere. You should claim all of them. You can do go on the internet. You're just like, that's me. You just tick verify just to bugger around with them in their head.
Yeah, it's true.
So, because you mentioned how you had your EP under the previous name come out, good 10 years or so now. So
yeah, 10 years ago.
That's a good long time between what's the correct term? Between snacks, as they say.
Between drinks.
Yeah, between drinks. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I was thinking there's a bar term in there somewhere. But yeah, it's been a long time since drinks per se. And what was the reason for, I guess, waiting this long before coming out, or I guess waiting this long before you got round to putting out the full length release?
Firstly, a couple of us moved away. There were 2 of us in Melbourne and 1 in Brisbane. And then John moved to London, I moved to Cairns. But then, my wife got stage 3 breast cancer in 2013. She's good now, all clear at the moment. But obviously, for a couple of years there, I was a full-time carer pretty much.
Yeah, so, that's pretty hectic, though.
That was pretty hectic.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Glad to hear that she's all right, though.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, I was just saying, glad to hear that she's all right at the moment, though.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the main thing. And, so she'll be, while I'm up here working up far north, she'll be in Cairns at home and, with our pet birds and,
All pet birds.
Look forward to getting back home.
I was going to say, how many How many birds do you have?
I can't say.
That's purely confidential.
Not that our landlord would ever hear this, but yeah.
What birds?
Let's say one.
You're talking malarkey.
All the others are wild ones. I don't know where they came from.
They saw you had bird feed and just decided to adopt you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some guy that, I'm trying to think, there's a few TV shows where the guy will, there'll be a party and there'll be some random guy, great crasher show up, and then, he'll sleep on the couch, and then before long he just becomes part of the furniture. Like they forget to ask him to leave.
But then it turns out he's not too bad, so you just let him stay.
Yeah, he works well as the comic relief character.
That's right, yeah. Washes the dishes occasionally.
Yeah, has decent table manners. Only puts fleas in the food once a week.
Yeah, that's
right. But yeah, it's good to see. I mean, it's good to see that it's not just laziness that's caused the big break and upset the fans. No, it's good to see that you guys have had very busy lives and that. But coming then back into actually making the record after quite a while, did you find that yours and the other members' music tastes and creative ideas had evolved in the preceding years?
Yeah, they had. I think with the first record, there was a strong Tom Waits, sort of Jeff Buckley sound. Whereas we found that, by the time we got to this one, the music was more diverse and a bit gruffer, if that makes sense. Yeah. Joel was sang a couple of songs in the lower register. There's a song on there that's a cappella. It's got no music at all. And I guess the denser songs became denser and the sparse songs became sparser.
Yeah. So what you worked on the
listen to the record through.
I was going to say you worked on a bit more of the dynamics and sort of knowing where less is more and knowing where more is more per se. Yeah,
that's it. And it wasn't really forced. It just sort of happened that way. So the louder songs became even denser, and the quieter songs were really stripped back. And so when you listen to that record, you'll notice that there's points where it almost stops in a sense.
Yeah.
Or picking up again. And that's, a deliberate sequencing thing that we did for this record.
Was it a pretty intense process trying to work out the order of the songs, or was it a case of once you'd written them or put them together, this is going to go here or this is going to be a good opener?
No, there was a bit of messing around. There was a few different iterations, and John in particular helped get the sequencing right, and the producer Lee Carden as well. I had a very clear vision of the order of the songs before we did the record, but then after we did it, I found that it didn't work. So we had to, we went back and did at least 3 or 4 drafts of different orders, and I'd listen to them over and over, see if there are any spots where it sags or you lose concentration. So I'm a real nerd about song sequencing. I really want the album to flow well, so you can put it on at the start of the drive and leave it on.
Yeah, no skipping tracks in this household.
Yeah, that's it.
I want to talk a bit about that production process, because you mentioned your producer Lee Carden, and you recorded with him in Melbourne, and then you also did some recording in Brisbane. So what I wanted to know was it a pretty concise process, or was there some breaks that occurred halfway through the project where life intervened and then you had to go, let's do this at a later date that wasn't specified?
No, it was a continuous process in that once we started, it kept rolling. And even though I'm in Cairns, the head office of my workplace is in Melbourne, and most of my family's in Melbourne. So I'd travel to Melbourne, 3 or 4 times a year anyway. And so on those trips, I'd simply tack on an extra couple of days, catch up with Lee. Okay, this time we're going to do the bass, or this time we're going to do song X, Y, and Z. And when that was done, I'd say, well, I'll see you in 3 months, and we'll do, this other song, and we'll do the violins, etc. So we were kind of on top of how the record was evolving the whole time. It wasn't a matter of here's a session, there's a session, and then let's see if we can patch this together. There was a sort of flow to it, even though it took a long time, even though it was more than a year of actual recording.
I was going to say, what was then the main reason for doing the recording in 2 locations?
That was simply that Joel was based in Brisbane. Yeah. Or still is based in Brisbane. And
not that there's anything wrong with that either, by the way.
No, not at all. I asked him, where do you want to record your vocals? So that was Airlock Studios, which is a beautiful location. It's Ian Haig from Powderfinger's studio. Yeah. And up in the mountains with lovely gum trees and what have you. Konstantin Kirsting did the recording for that one. And a very easygoing professional presence, so we got it done quite quickly. And that was the Brisbane session with Joel's vocals. And at the time, John was based in Melbourne, so that was a simple reason. But all the instrumentation was done in Melbourne. Lee was keen. He'd heard the demos through John, who was already a friend of Lee's, and Lee was keen to do the instrumentation, do all the recording. So big well outfitted studio, nice high ceiling, lots of guitars. Yeah, it was great.
Did a lot of the writing occur separately to each other? Because you're obviously all being based in different locations. Did you end up having to do a lot of the pre-production and the songwriting stuff in correspondence rather than in person? Yeah,
it's mostly done by correspondence, but we still get a lot more done when we do catch up in person.
Yeah.
It's funny how that happens, so a lot of the music I wrote, and so I've got a little setup at home where I can make something that resembles a song.
Resembles being the key word there, folks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can get nice sounding guitars, but the bass line's basically me playing on a keyboard and a drum machine.
Hey, nothing wrong with the old Casio.
That's right.
Does the job.
I've got a 15-year-old Yamaha SO3, and I just tuned down the keys so that it sounds like a bass, sort of. And so you get the idea for the songs from that. I wrote some of the vocals, but also both of the vocalists wrote some of the vocals themselves, and that's sort of been the next step in the process. So the music comes first. Yeah.
So is it a case with a lot of the songs on the album that, I mean, I know some of them are, like there's that one instrumental track that finishes it, and then there is that one you mentioned before that's a cappella. I can't remember the name of it. But
he is gone. Yeah.
That's right, the third track on the album. Yeah. But for obviously all the rest, did you find that it was going to always be the actual instrumentation that comes first, or were there some cases where the lyrics came out and you go, I've got to write some music to this?
No, it's music first, largely for me, yeah. So, and it might be fragments, like, it might be just the music for the verse, and then I have some lyrics for that, or I just think of a hook for that, or one of the others thinks of a hook for that. So it may not be an entire song, but it's more likely to be the pieces, so a verse, and then you might think of a music that can flow on from that, and then the lyrics follow that as well. So, yeah, pretty much in every case, the music came first,
Yeah, that's fair. But I was going to say, was when you're putting down the songs, are you one of those songwriters that can tend to finish an entire track in one sitting, or are you more a case of I put a bit here, a bit there, let me finish that later on kind of songwriter?
Yeah, mostly it takes a long time. So coming up with, there might be a verse and a verse melody, then thinking of a chorus that might contrast to that melody in a nice way. It might come a month or 2 months later, and I'll leave them all there. It's almost like, pieces of material sitting in the shed. You can pull them out. But yeah, it can take months. You can have a really good sound verse or intro, and you think, oh, that could go with this other thing. Yeah. Or, something comes to you. Occasionally a whole song will come. So, there's a song on there called The Haviland Dream State.
Yep. The
whole melody for that that's the sort of breezy sort of country / shoegaze song. That all came on one flight on a plane. But even then I had the lyrics, I had the lyrical melody, but the original set of lyrics had some terrible metaphor about flying on the back of a pelican or something. Because it's about flying. I was like, I'm on a giant pelican flying. So it's always good to redraft your lyrics, I find. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Was the cabin just a little too depressurized that day?
Yeah, that's right.
They accidentally injected the cabin with laughing gas.
That's right. Yeah, it's been a long trip, perhaps. The lyrical melody and the way that the song flows from start to finish all came on that one sitting. But yeah, usually not. Usually it's me noodling around, or it's a tune that comes into my head. Sometimes I'll be just sitting in a park or something, and the progression will come into my head, and I'll scribble it down as quick as I can before I forget it.
Oh, so you've got the case of like you've got because I know some songwriters do it where they've got their inside pocket instead of like their wallet in their inside pocket. They go pull out notepads like song ideas, da 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 da.
Yeah.
So you're one of those
Always
people, I'm guessing.
Yes, yeah, and I usually write it in tablature form. So if you look at my notebook, it'll say, milk, bread, 003041, and then they'll have the time signature next to it, and then it'll say, oranges.
Do you then, while you're at the supermarket, do you then read over the shopping list in the melody you're thinking of?
That's right.
Yeah. I've got to get oranges, milk.
That's a good idea. And it might be a snippet. It might be 5 seconds, that can be the basis for something. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Get that idea in your head and work from there. So going by that, you say, because you say, I do it as tablature. So can you imagine, can you actually translate the melody in your head and you know exactly where the pitch is going to be when you write it down? Are you one of those people that can actually visualize it straight from your head?
Yes, if it's simple enough. Sometimes I get it wrong.
Yeah.
In which case I can usually correct it if I'm close. Sometimes I come back to these zeros and threes and play it, and that doesn't sound like anything. So it doesn't always work. But by and large I can. I'm picturing. Sometimes I'll change the key, but I'll have the basic notes there. So I can hear it and then go, that'll be those notes.
Because here I was thinking you were going to be on this plane. You had your ukulele or whatever stowed away in the compartment tray, and you're mid-flight over the way across the Pacific, and then you wake up and go, "Shit, there's a melody." Sorry, madam, just suddenly reaching up, grabbing the uke. Sorry about this. I'm just going to play some ideas in my head.
No, it was more like 8730. 387, scribbling it down. The bloke next to me, he's probably reading, I don't know, how to shoot pigs with a semi-automatic rifle or something. Yeah.
How do I carry a gun on a plane again? Because this guy's fucking annoying. No. No, I was going to say, it's like maybe they should start an airline for musicians, Simon. So you get like a ticket, like you pay a bit extra as a musician, and you get like the free, like the seats are designated as musician seats, and you pull down the table tray instead of just like a food tray. It's a MIDI keyboard or whatever, and you can get like headphones, and you just start playing away.
Terrific.
I like this, like
Playing excellent. No one can bother you. Yeah.
I'm going to write that down. Don't steal my idea, Simon. I'm going to write it down. So don't use your notepad. I'm going to use my mental notepad. I'm going to write it down and pitch it to Qantas. Guys, I know you've had a tough year. I know it's been tough, but I got the idea that you get back on your feet. All these touring musicians that need to get out there next year, this is how you're going to coax them in to fly with you.
Yeah.
Table tray keyboards.
Yep.
Oh yeah, thanks for that idea, Simon. I'll remember to thank you when I hit my first billion sales.
I think we've got recorded evidence that was your idea. So
yeah, that's why I record this episode.
Even though I've already written it in my notebook. Yeah,
it would have been embarrassing if I forgot to press record. I'm like, oh no, don't care about the interview. My keyboard idea.
Just my patented idea.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was on this plane, and it's funny, I was reading, you know, when you're on a plane and you just read the in-flight magazine, and you read things that you wouldn't normally read because there's nothing else to do. So there was an interview with Pete Murray in there, and he said, I challenged myself to write a song, and yeah, he's flying from somewhere exotic to Lisbon in Portugal or something like that. And I thought, I'll do that too, from Weeper to Cairns. that can be my challenge.
Oh,
that's where the Dream State started. Yeah.
So you're in one of those 32-seater ones with the propellers and everything, I'm guessing.
Yeah. That's what a de Havilland. De Havilland. Yeah. People say, what's de Havilland mean? It's the brand of aeroplane. It's the Dash 8s that fly miners from Weeper to Cairns, well, not just miners, healthcare workers, scientists like me, and you know, land rights people and all of that, politicians on these little planes. So you got this really diverse bunch of people flying on this plane, and you know, the one back to Cairns, everyone just looks so tired and relieved, and that's what the Havilland Bean is. Yeah,
they're weeping to get out of Weeper.
Yeah.
that doesn't really reflect well on your town if you're like everybody's really tired when they leave. Just look like they just want to get back to civilization again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I guess to be fair, most of them, you know, have to work pretty hard once they get to Weeper. You know, they've probably got a huge round of meetings and negotiations to deal with, or they're out on the mines for a couple of weeks. So
yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, even me, you know, doing something that's enjoyable, studying wildlife, you know, I'm still exhausted and ready to get home.
Yeah. Yeah, the birds out in the wild just aren't the same, are they?
No, they're not. No, not the same as the ones that moved into our house without us asking them.
So, for those of you who don't know, you're a three-piece with your vocalists, Joel and John, but what I didn't realise was that the fact that they're not the main instrumentalists either. You're the main instrumentalist and guitarist, but you were mentioning before when we were chatting before that you do get. There's obviously a lot of instrumentation that you don't actually play that's on the album. So tell us a bit about how you got to getting all the rest of the instrumentation on there, because there are a bit of violins, there's a lot of keyboards, there's the drums obviously, and everything else that comes along with putting together a record.
Yeah, so I guess the concept of the Riflebirds from the beginning was that it would be myself, the vocalists, and then whoever we could rope in to play either the shows or do the recordings. So the process for that was really helped along this time by Lee Carden, the producer, in Melbourne, who's got a really broad network of musicians. So it meant that not only did he have people that he was friends with or he'd worked with before, this meant that they knew, how things would go, but also the right type of musicians to play on the record. So that was a huge bonus. And yeah, so for bass, violins, French horn, I either scored up the music and sent it to them, and they came in and played it, or in some places, like again, the Havilland Dream State, the bass work there is quite busy and melodic, and that was basically the bassist Tom Fraser being given free rein. Basically, I said, "There's no bass line for this song. Try some things," and it worked out really well.
I was supposed to write the bass line on Tuesday, but I called to go out to Weeper. You'll have to make it up on the fly.
Yeah, that's right. Good luck. I think it's in C. No, I was in the studio for that when he was doing that work. So we talked back and forth, and he really colours in between the lines. The guitars are very, and deliberately, they're meant to sound like a sort of a haze, a swarm of bees, and you've got this colourful bass line underneath it. So we got those people together. Toby Bender on the drums, and he comes from a jazz and Latin drumming background. But to me, that's awesome. I and the drummer and bassist that we played the recent Brisbane shows, also from jazz background, improvisation background, and so completely different style of music to what the Paradise Riflebirds is, but they've got that sort of their flexibility, think on their feet, they can read music easily, and to me it gives us a different flavour. It's sometimes billed as alt rock, and sure that's at the core, but there's something different about using people with that different approach to rhythms, especially.
Yeah.
And
so did you
do more the next record as well?
So did you find that because of that they were giving input that you may not have, or giving ideas that you wouldn't even thought of?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any song that you can think of that's on the album that was transformed, I guess, from what you originally had in mind when you went into the studio and played around with it?
Yeah, there's probably two that I can think of. First is probably the opener on the album, which is called "This One Goes to Those Who Never Had a Chance to Leave."
Very short title.
The short title, yeah, that was smart, wasn't it? Putting a 12-word title on the first song, and that song I thought would just sort of have a fairly straightforward sort of chug to it from start to finish, but ended up with a bit more swing, if you like. Originally that wasn't going to be the first song. That was definitely going to be somewhere in the middle. But that work that the rhythm section did elevated it to first. Just because it's got, it starts out slow, and then it's got a nice snappy beat, and it drops into a nice groove bass line. Yeah.
Nice.
And there's the song towards the end called Mystified. Again, the drumming, I had some sort of tricky drum machine work I'd done on it, and I pulled a reverse psychology on the drummer and said, I'm pretty sure this isn't actually possible for a human to play, which of course is a red rag to a bull. And you hear the fills in that song in the chorus. They're not punched in. He's actually playing that.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable. And again, it lifted that song up.
Yeah. I was listening to it's a lot of really good rhythms just with those rockier tracks throughout the album that just it's just cool to hear that there was a lot of really good drum work going on in there, and it was done by a real human being. Yeah, that's it.
So, and that's something as I said we'll continue to look at. In the next record is try and really think about different rhythms, and that comes from me listening to drum and bass, and bands that a lot of people have forgotten about, Red Snapper, Morphine, things like that. Not your usual, not just rock bands, but those type of groups as well.
Yeah. I was going to say, on speaking of, you're talking about like your next record and that, has there been a lot of ideas slung between you and the other members about like what the next album's going to consist of at this point, or are you really just sort of not sure where it's going to go at this stage?
I've demoed up. I guess I've got an 8-track demo, which I've run by Tom, and we've discussed that. Lyrically, it's a bit further away with just fragments here and there. So it's underway. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure this is the case for a lot of musicians that, you're often, your creative headspace is ahead of where, your releases are. So, for me, I'm thinking about that from a creative point of view, but I still need to think about the storytelling for this record and make sure that I can persuade people to listen to it. So, yeah, I think that push and pull is probably true for a lot of musicians, hey?
Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I want to touch on, because we're going to play another one of the tracks in a sec. We're going to play Goat Paths to Nowhere, which is the second track off the record. And you mentioned to me before the interview that you're going to be, or you've recently put out the video for this one?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about that, because you're going to have to entice me, because I haven't actually viewed it yet. So you're going to have to entice me and make it sound interesting.
Okay. I think I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. The video includes footage that we've taken over the past few years in North Queensland, the US, Colombia, United Arab Emirates, Canada, and then it's mixed in with some a capitalist propaganda video from the 1950s.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, one of those, do you know a communist?
Yeah.
Does he wear red?
No, this is more about the capitalist dream and how everyone was going to be middle class.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of a cameo from a Republican US politician from the 1960s in the middle. And there's also some ritualized couch burning, which is something my family does annually. With broken furniture, they take it out in the paddock and set it on fire. And
wait,
so
is this an annual thing?
Well.
Is this like the goat? Like, the Burning Man fest? Is this how Burning Man started?
It is. They're Burning Man.
Is this? Or is it? There's that festival where they burn the giant figure of the man in the UK. Yeah. It's a bit like that, is it?
Yeah. Well, my little brother, he's very arty. He's a painter, and he ritually burns old furniture and effigies of things. So it's funny. I've told a few people about it, and I've just got this sort of crickets. It's like, okay.
It is very arty, though.
Yeah, true. There's no performance footage or anything like that. It's we were going for something a bit more interesting than that, and it alludes to I guess the social contract of bringing everybody up into the middle class and social security for all, and us perhaps not quite getting there. Lyrically, it's about telling someone that they can have a better life. They just need to get over their own sort of inertia, because especially if you're poor, the dice are loaded against you a bit.
So was it a case? Was it a case of that the visuals had to sort of match or complement, per se, the lyrical themes going on? Yes,
yeah, and they do. And not overtly. It's not like every word has, an image for it or something like that. But yeah, everything has a meaning. Like, the fact that, late in the video, you see the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. And early in the video, you see the capitalist propaganda video from the US showing tall buildings and lots and lots of traffic.
Mm.
And it's, well, here we go. Here's where the edge of technology is now, and it's in the Arab world. Well, US are fighting each other over, identity politics and, having a sort of cultural civil war with themselves. And, here's the Arab world doing this. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to think, actually, because for a good, for the first 3,000 years of human history, the Middle East had the world's tallest structure. And then it went to Europe and I think, in America and somewhere else. And now it's back to the Middle East again. Now they're building the tallest buildings. Yeah. So it's interesting to think about that. But
it is interesting, yeah.
Obviously, I want to mention, we're going to play the track in a sec. But tell us, of course, where we can find the music, because you were mentioning before. I mean, I usually always ask, but some people don't know where you can actually get the album, so it's important to let everyone know. So, please, Simon, tell us where you can find the album, where we can find your socials, where we can buy merch if you've got any merch and that sort of thing. So the album Victorian Evening is available on all the digital platforms. There's on Spotify, iTunes, all of those. We don't have physical copies at this point, but if you go to our Facebook page, we'll keep you updated on any of that. I was going to say, if you rip and pirate a copy of your own album, is it still a pirated copy?
So if it is.
If it's not official. No, because if Gladys, if 83-year-old Gladys from Malulabar wants to listen to your album and doesn't know about the spotter tunes, she wants a physical copy. We're gonna have to self-pirate, I think.
Yeah.
And then burn the copy later as an effigy.
That's right.
But so it's on all the streaming sites. Have you guys got a website and all that?
We've just got the Facebook page at this point. Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram,
everything.
all the sexy socials. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Facebook, Twitter. But Facebook, it has got all the videos and the like on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, Simon, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today and taking us through the process of the album and all the fun stuff.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having us on, Daniel. It's good to have a more expansive chat and not be not like a 5-minute spot. Yeah, it's nice to be able to talk about it at more length.
Yeah, that's what we try and do here. So I hope we can tickle that spot off for you. I'll scratch that itch, so to speak.
Consider it tickled.
Yeah. Simon, let's take it out to the song. Want to tell people what you're about to listen to and who you are?
This is Gate Paths to Nowhere by the Paradise Riflebirds. And, this song's about finding your way to a better life and overcoming your own inertia.
Brilliant. Here it is.
Enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy, folks. Here it is.
It's a life trap, it's a money trap, you can sleep forever, it's a work trap, it's a sleep trap, early heart attack, it's the strangest thing, 35, and you're sleeping on the ground.
AustralianMusiciansRadio.com